Hi, I'm Chris Gannon, and this is my Ezuri Renegade leader deck. So this is my general, Ezuri. He's really good. Basically, he's an elf tribal deck. So he regenerates the other elves, gives everything trample. So the main point of the deck is to basically produce a whole bunch of mana, a bunch of basic lands. And the first non-basic is Gaea's Cradle, which is, in my opinion, stable in anything that's playing lots of creatures, needs lots of mana. Then we've got Wirewood Lodge, lets me untap one of my elves, Priest Titania, something like that. Oran-Rief the Vastwood, when I put a bunch of creatures into play, basically makes them a whole bunch bigger. Pendelhaven, if I don't have anything to really pump anything on the board, this helps me get through for a little bit of damage. Contested Warzone, it's kind of an iffy card to play. I only play it if I think I'm going to win that turn, but it basically boosts it. Treetop Village is just good if somebody like wipes the board and I don't have any creatures, still gives me a blocker so I don't get one-shotted by a general or something like that. Soul Ring for utility. Cage Sun just lets me tap for a whole bunch more mana. Mages of the Candelabra. This is actually a really good card because I tap like all my elves plus the Gaea's Cradle, and it lets me untap all my mana, basically double everything that's in my pool. Gaea's Blessing lets me shuffle anything utility that I really need back into the deck, or if someone's trying to mill me out, basically shuffles my graveyard back into my library. Gilded Lotus, again, if someone decides that they're going to wrap the board, I still have mana so that I can play it. Door of Destinies, pumps all my creatures. It's just a good card in a tribal deck. Eldrazi Monument, don't really need to say anything about that. It's just really good. This lets me produce a whole bunch of mana the turn that I play like any of my mana producing elves. It also lets me untap so I can add even more mana. Basically, this Darksteel Plate lets me protect Ezuri. Same thing with Greaves. Then I have Nissa. Basically, it's for the life gain. I usually just have her in there so that people target her instead of me for a while. Save it up. Harmonize lets me draw 3 cards. Glimpse of Nature, so if I have a bunch of creatures cards in hand, I can basically just draw a whole bunch of cards, go off in one turn. Same thing with Skull Clamp, lets me clamp down my elves, draw a bunch of cards, go off. Same thing with Visionary, just lets me draw some cards. Wirewood Pride, lets me pump one creature, a whole bunch if I don't have anything to overrun. Reap and Sow, lets me go find like some non-basic lands. Really like this card. Genesis Wave, I'm producing a whole bunch of mana in this deck, so it just lets me basically throw out the entire deck in one shot. Praetor's Council, again, if everything is sent to the graveyard, lots of wrath effects are flying around, this lets me get everything back in my hand that I don't have a maximum hand size. Worldly Tutor lets me search for any of the creatures I need to get. Krosan Grip just for this pesky artifacts or enchantments. Same thing with Naturalize. Creep and Corrosion in my playgroup, there's a lot of artifacts, so I need the artifact hate. Same thing with the Justice. Also, the Justice lets me scry, which I really like. Sylvan Library. This is actually a really good card. Lets me basically keep my hand full, keep drawing stuff, so I never run out of gas. Concordant Crossroads gives all my creatures haste. This is a must-have in my deck. Taunting Elf, so I can get through. Now we have some mana producer, helps me basically ramp up. Joraga Warcaller lets me pump all my guys. Basically, Elvish Warrior, utility elf. Priest Titania, add 1 green for each elf I control. This is actually a really good card, helps me pump up so I can overrun. Viridian Zealot, again, lots of artifact in my playgroup. I need the hate. Wirewood Herald, when it dies, it lets me search my library for an elf card. So if there's something that I need to grab, such as Eldamiri, which gives all my elves Shroud, and Forest Walk, it's pretty good. Timberwatch Elves gives a creature +X/+X, where X is the number of elves in play. If I can untap him and give it to something twice, I can usually one-shot somebody with like Well-Wisher or Llanowar Elf. Well-Wisher just for life gain. Elvish Archdruid for the buff and for the mana. Heritage Druid, I have a lot of elves in the deck. I'm always pumping out elves, just adds mana. Immaculate Magistrate just helps me pump my elves. Drove of Elves I find is really good. Power and toughness equal number of elves you control. Also can't be the target spells or abilities your opponent controls, so hexproof. It's just a good all-around card. Llanowar Elf, basic utility elf. Llanowar Mentor, he just lets me make more elves. Skyshroud Poacher lets me search my library for any elf put it into play. This is actually a really good card. Yeah, there's not much more I can say about that one. This lets me search for some of the land in the deck. I don't play very many, so it's nice to be able, when I need it, to be able to search it out. Solana Ledgewalker is just a really good elf. Emissary is just good because I can block and then go get some land if I need to, or attack into something. Hopefully it'll die. Multani lets me draw a card. That's why he's in here. Gempalm Strider is really good because I barely ever play him. I usually cycle him, so it gives all my elves +2/+2 until end of turn when I cycle, plus it lets me draw a card. So again, it lets me like one-shot somebody. Master Myers has a lot of like good combos in the deck. I can discard it to put a 1/1 into play and then just get it back, and lets me draw a card. Glissa again for the artifact hate. I just couldn't pass the Teleria's Battalion. I just could not pass up a 4/3 for 2. Nettle Sentinel, he just works really well with the deck. Helps me pump out a lot of mana. Excuse me. This one, whenever I cast an elf spell, I put a 1/1 Elf Warrior into play. Just like I said, just pumping out the elves. Gaea's Herald, it's so that my elf spells don't get countered. It's really good against anything that's playing control. One of the stars of the deck, Rafellis. He basically adds 1 green for every forest I control. Helps really pump out. Like turn 4, I can hit somebody for like 60 if I get Rafellis. Again, for the artifact destruction, Wirewood Symbiote lets me bounce a creature back to my hand, so if someone wraps the board, I can bounce like the Rafellis to untap something. I really like it. Essence Warden, just for early game, late game, plus an elf. Nissa's Chosen, because she never really dies. Elvish Vanguard, whenever another elf comes into play, I put a +1/+1 counter on Elvish Vanguard. He gets really big really quick if I can get him out early enough. Probably the best, what I consider the best elf lord is Imperious Perfect. Gives all other elves +1/+1. I get to put an elf into play by tapping a green and tapping it. Love this card. Elvish Champion gives all my elves +1/+1 to Force Walk. It's pretty good. Wirewood Hivemaster, this is usually what happens is I have the Hivemaster out, and because I have all this stuff pumping my elves, it's the insects that I'm clamping down with Skull Clamp. So I really like this because the elves are no longer 1/1s. Elvish Lookout, it just can't be the target. It's a 1/1 that can't be the target spells or abilities. It's just a good card. Define Elf, it's a 1/1 elf for trample. 1/1 for 1 elf for trample. Just a good card. And then the last card is Fauna Shaman, so I can basically fetch anything up in the deck. Thanks for watching CMDR decks. Please subscribe and favorite.